Chapter 10 Hope. My feet began to sweat from the heat blasting on the floor of the car. How am I in Mike's old Honda Accord? The last thing I recalled was falling asleep in his arms. Oh, I knew what this is. Another flashback, but this time I was dreaming it. The day we became superheroes at the risk of exposing our powers. Just a year ago, right after the Union. Most superheroes had one thing in common, hiding their true identities. But they were masters at hiding who they were, and we certainly weren't superheroes. We were just trying to blend in, to be mortals with powers who existed in a normal world. When you had to hide because people won't understand, you worried. What would happen if someone figured out we existed? And then the day came, the day our secret exposed itself. Within seconds, we were forced to make a decision to let fate take 3 innocent lives or save the mortals at the risk of our being seen as superheroes. All I could say was I had no regrets about the outcome of the day, a memory burned into my brain that couldn't be forgotten. Mike reached for my hand while driving with the other. His hand was ice cold, sending shivers up my arm. A genuine smile rested on his face, and I returned a bigger smile. We were on our way to a dinner theater, one of my favorite places to watch a play, while engorging in the fabulous buffet spread. My low-cut black dress came down just below my kneecaps. I curled my blonde hair with a black clip on the right side just above my ear. As Mike drove down the right side of the 2-lane highway, a tractor-trailer swerved back and forth, gliding over the lines on both sides, unable to stay between them. He must have been tired or under the influence. Either way, we need to get around this large vehicle without him bumping into us. Mike jumped into my thoughts. I'm going to pass him. I nodded, crossing my fingers that this went well. He turned on his turn signal and moved over to the passing lane. Mike sped up. Once we were beside the truck, I glanced up at the driver. He was an older white male with a long, shabby beard and thin gray hair. His lips were moving as if he was talking to himself. In the man's hand was a can. The design appeared to be an alcoholic beverage. He took a drink from it, threw it across the cab of the truck, then looked down at me as we sped past him. That awkward moment when you make eye contact with someone. I quickly look away. Mike was now past the swaying trailer and returned to the right lane once he was a safe distance away. In the mirror, I could see the trailer still moving side to side. Glad that was over, but was it? I wondered if maybe I should call the local police before he hit someone. That was close, Mike said. But before I could suggest calling 911, the sound of the trailer became loud. The tractor trailer was now coming at a rapid speed towards our rear. Mike, I shouted, gripping the door handle tight, expecting to be smashed to my death. Mike swerved over to the left lane to avoid a rear-end collision, but the speed of the drunken trucker ended up clipping our vehicle, and the passenger mirror ripped off the door. I screamed in shock. Mike slammed the brakes. What happened next felt like all in slow motion. We watched as it all unfolded into a disaster. We came to a halt on the highway, and the trailer continued forward. It sped up and hit the back end of a U-Haul trailer attached to a half-ton truck. The driver of the U-Haul lost control and swerved into a white Kia Sorento in the left lane. The car slid in a circular motion, spinning like a vintage spin-top toy, while the U-Haul trailer slid off the right shoulder into the guardrail, causing it to come to a halt. The drunk in the tractor trailer hit the brakes, but instead of drifting off the shoulder to the right, it began to swerve to the left. The car that was spinning in circles bounced off the middle barrier and stopped in the left lane, perpendicular to us, roughly a football field away. All this happened in a matter of seconds, but it felt like minutes. Mike and I stared at this horrific scene that was about to get worse. The drunk driver of the tractor trailer had lost control, and the back end of the feeder was beginning to tip over its left side. Mike and I watched as this Kia Sorento was about to be crushed by a tractor trailer, but we saw someone in the back seat on the passenger side. A little girl was staring at us, no more than 8 years old, knowing her life was about to end as this large vehicle was about to crush them. This couldn't be happening right now. How could this small child with a long life ahead of her be killed, all because of some drunk who couldn't wait till he got to his next destination to drink his beer? Without hesitation, Mike reached for my left hand with his right. We interlocked our fingers, eyes glowing, and we raised our hands. Our energy blasted through the windshield, causing it to fly off and hit the ground. Mike and I held steady to move energy toward the falling trailer about to land on the car. This trailer was heavy, and our united energy was depleting, but we couldn't give up. Our eyes continued glowing, and our hands stayed steady. I could feel it fighting against us. It was pushing us as we pushed back, but we couldn't give up now. We had to keep trying. My hands were shaking, our hands were pounding, hot and cold flowing through me, praying I had enough strength left in me. Then, just when I thought we failed, the trailer stopped just before it tapped the roof of the car. With everything we had, we steadily moved the trailer back to its upright position. We caught our breaths, exhausted ourselves as if we'd sprinted a mile. Luckily, we were the only ones who could see the moving energy from our hands to the truck. I learned that during my awakening at the playground when I was 7. With the trailer upright and our eyes returning to normal, my eyes locked with the young child in the back seat of the car. It was as if she knew what we were doing, but that wasn't possible. We were the only ones who could see moving energy. Maybe she saw the glowing coming from our eyes or the windshield blasting off the car, but who would believe a little girl if she said anything? Mike took a drink out of the water bottle and then handed it to me. I'm going to call 911. Go see if everyone is all right. As I drank the water, my body's energy restored immediately. I opened the passenger side of our car and glanced behind us. The vehicles were far enough back and they had plenty of time to stop without rear-ending us. I hustled over to the Kia with the 3 lives we just saved. Is everyone all right? I asked loudly since the windows were up. The passenger was a lady about my age. I opened her door, but she appeared disoriented. Blood dripped down the side of her forehead. On the driver's side was a male, possibly a few years older than her. I yelled over to him. Help is on the way. Just hang tight. He too was in a befuddled state. The man turned back to the little girl. Hope, are you okay? The child couldn't take her eyes off me, ignoring her father's question. Then the lady attempted to speak loudly, but whispered in a brittle voice. Hope? I'm okay, Mommy, she finally answered, but continued to stare as she tilted her head. My boyfriend called an ambulance, I said. They should be here very soon. Mike sprinted over to the truck with the U-Haul to assist that situation while I stayed with the family. Within 10 minutes, 2 ambulances, 4 cop cars, a fire truck, and 1 tow truck showed up. Mike and I watched this terrible scene unfold into an investigation, just like in the TV shows. The cops arrested the truck driver. After giving our statements to one of the cops, we were about to leave. The cop walked away, and suddenly I felt a tug on the back of my coat. I spun around to see the little girl standing alone. I knelt to the level of the girl. Sweetie, where are your parents? She stood in silence, not even a smile. I looked around to see where they were, then back at her. Hope, do you need something? I asked. I saw what you did, she said in a sweet little voice. I looked up at Mike and then back at her, placing my hands on her shoulders. I'm glad we could call for help. She cut me off. No, your hands. She reached for my left hand with her right. Her fingers wrapped around my hand. I could feel how cold it was. Suddenly, I felt a shock of vibration flowing through me, like we shared something. I peered into her brown eyes, and for a split second, I thought they twinkled in a soft crystal blue color like Mike's. She pulled away and smiled. I heard her thoughts, our little secret. Before anything else could be said, her mother grabbed her. Hope, why did you walk away from us? She asked historically. Before her daughter could answer the question, her mother demanded, Don't ever leave us, while hugging her tightly. They walked toward the ambulance with the father and EMTs. Hope watched me as she stood with her parents. I stood back up to inform Mike what I just felt before I could say anything. A car headed straight for us. The lights grew brighter and brighter. I shut my eyes, bracing for impact. Then I opened my eyes very slowly. I was back in the tent. Mike sat on my cot, playing with his phone. You're awake, he said. I sat up. What time is it? Almost 5 p.m.? Wow, I slept through lunch. That was a long nap. You were dreaming about Hope again, Mike said. Yeah, I keep wondering if she is one of us. There might be more star children out there than you think, he suggested. We are in a camp full of them. I got an idea. Let's go ask around. Maybe they know about her. That wasn't a bad idea. She was a star child. Maybe they recruited her since we saw her last. I'm starving, I said. I keep forgetting I'm eating for two now. Let's go get some food. We took a walk down to the cafeteria where all the campers were already eating dinner. The tent was huge with 8 rectangle tables. Everyone was laughing with cheerful smiles on their faces. I scanned the room, but no hope. I walked up to the back table, and a beautiful young lady, possibly my age, stood in front of several large bowls with food. She had bleached blonde hair and a low ponytail and bright blue eyes. She was very slender, standing as tall as me. Hi, I don't think we met yet, she said softly. I'm Nora, Indigo. I reached out to shake her hand. Amber, Indigo. Mike shook her hand. Hello, I'm Mike, Crystal. Oh, I heard about you guys, she said. Rumor has it you are the first of our kind. Well, first awoken powers. I guess your parents' powers never woke? No, I acknowledged. They never did awaken. Nora took the tongs and placed the meat on the plate. Then she scooped some beans and added some veggies. She handed me the plate. Deer meat, beans, peas, and carrots, fresh from our gardens. Thank you, I said. I'm also twin flame like you. Max, she hollered. An African American man standing a little taller than her walked over. He had broad shoulders, very short black hair, a mustache, and a goatee. Hey, I'm Max, a Crystal, he said with a deep voice. We shook his hand and introduced ourselves. Sorry we missed your welcoming, he apologized. We've been out trying to find Jasper's crew since they found you. Any luck? Mike asked. They both shook their heads no. Nora handed Mike a plate. Have you seen a little girl named Hope, about yay tall, maybe 9 or 10 years old? Mike asked. Nope, Max said. Can't say we have any hopes here. It was worth a shot. It was nice meeting you guys, I said politely. Max nodded. Likewise. We sat down at the table with Alex and Evan and a few other campers. The food was surprisingly pretty good. I enjoyed our time chatting. Alex didn't say much to me, but she wasn't much of a chatty person with anyone. She seemed socially awkward. I glanced up to see Zeke and Danny walk in. He grabbed a plate from Nora. While they took their food to go, Zeke and I made eye contact. We locked eyes for 3 seconds that felt like minutes. This weird tingling feeling came into my stomach. Did he cause that? No, the food must not be sitting well with the baby. Then the lock was broken. He quickly turned away as I removed my eyes and focused on my plate of food. I wasn't ready to talk to him yet. I glanced up to see Danny glaring at me. I didn't know what her deal was. Everyone else had been so kind, and I had this feeling she didn't like me. They both walked out with their food. That was awkward. Mike looked at me. Maybe I should go talk to him. No, I whispered. This is my mess. I will talk to him. Boundaries will be set. I'll do it tomorrow, I promise. Mike nodded. Okay. After spending the evening getting to know the rest of the campers, I grew tired again and needed to get some sleep. Being pregnant not only had uncontrollable hormones, but seemed to bring on fatigue. I crawled onto the cot and covered myself under the sheet. The past few days had been rough, but I was glad to be here. I just wish I knew what was going on with Zeke and me. My fidelity lies with Mike, but I couldn't ignore the unusual connection with Zeke. Tomorrow, I was going to figure this out.